Today's shocking news: fire at Station 51 involving Kelly Severide and Stella Kidd. The sun had barely begun to rise over Chicago when the shrill ring of the alarm echoed through the halls of Firehouse 51. It was supposed to be a routine call, a minor warehouse fire on the outskirts of the city. Kelly Severide, lieutenant of Squad 3, and his wife, Lieutenant Stella Kidd of Truck 81, exchanged their usual confident nod as they suited up and rushed to the truck with the rest of their crews. None of them knew this would be the call that changed everything. The warehouse blaze. The moment they arrived, it was clear that this was no ordinary fire. The warehouse was an inferno, flames licking the sky like wild serpents. Thick black smoke curled through the air, choking visibility and making breathing difficult even from a distance. Firefighters were already battling the blaze, but it was spreading faster than expected. Something inside was feeding it, possibly chemicals or gas lines that hadn't been disclosed. Truck 81, Squad 3, back up the primary search team. There may be workers still trapped inside. Chief Bowden's voice crackled through the radio. "Copy that," Severide replied, already pulling on his mask. Stella looked at him. Even with the mask hiding most of his face, she could read his eyes. Concern, courage, and a shared promise that no matter what, they had each other's backs. They entered the building side by side. Moments inside the fire. Inside was chaos. Flames roared above their heads. The heat was unbearable. The sprinkler systems had failed. Visibility was near zero. "Over here," Stella shouted through her mask, spotting a silhouette. A young man huddled behind metal crates. Severide helped her pull the man out. He was conscious but coughing violently. "We'll get you out," Stella assured him. They led him toward the exit, but that's when it happened. An explosion rocked the building. A gas line, buried beneath debris, had erupted. The force threw all three of them backward. Debris rained from above. Part of the ceiling gave way. Kelly was pinned beneath a large metal beam. "Kelly!" Stella screamed, ignoring the pain in her shoulder as she scrambled toward him. "I'm okay," he groaned, but his leg was clearly injured. The victim was unconscious again. Time was running out. "Mayday! Mayday!" Stella yelled into her radio. "We have a firefighter down and a civilian unconscious. Inside the northeast quadrant." "We're coming for you," Bowden responded. But the fire wasn't waiting. It surged forward like a living monster, devouring everything in its path. Outside. Panic and desperation. Back outside, the rest of Firehouse 51 sprang into action. Mouch and Herman were coordinating the hose lines. Ritter was helping medics with the victims already pulled out. And Gallo stood frozen for a split second, staring at the fire swallowing the warehouse. "They're still in there," he said quietly. "Then we go get them," said Cruz, determination in his eyes. With no time to waste, Squad 3 and Truck 81 members suited up again and charged back in. Inside the collapse. Stella fought with everything she had. She managed to move the beam just enough for Kelly to drag himself partially out. Blood was pouring from a gash on his forehead. His leg was at an odd angle, but he was alive. "We need to get out of here now," she said. Kelly tried to stand but collapsed. "Go without me," he said hoarsely. "Get the kid out." "No," she barked. "I'm not leaving you, Severide." She tried to pull him, dragging his weight inch by inch. Fire licked closer. The heat seared her back. Her gear was soaked. Another explosion erupted, not as big, but close. Stella shielded Kelly with her body. Debris hit her shoulder hard. Her helmet flew off. Blood streaked down the side of her face. Stella, Kelly shouted, trying to crawl toward her, ignoring the pain. Her eyes fluttered. Consciousness slipped. And just as the fire surged again, a miracle happened. Asterisk the rescue asterisk. Cruz and Gallo burst through the flames like angels. Severide, kid, Cruz yelled. Kelly waved weakly. The next few minutes were a blur. Kelly was lifted onto a stretcher. Stella, barely awake, was carried out by Gallo. The young victim, still breathing, was pulled out last by Cap and Tony. Outside, paramedics swarmed them. Violet McCamey applied oxygen and bandages, her hands steady but her heart racing. "They're both alive," she said, more to herself than anyone else. Chief Bowden stood nearby, jaw clenched, eyes misted. He had seen many close calls, but this one cut deeper than most. Severide and Kid weren't just firefighters. They were family. Asterisk at the hospital asterisk. At Med, doctors worked quickly. Kelly had a broken leg, cracked ribs, and a concussion. Stella had a dislocated shoulder, second-degree burns on her back, and a mild traumatic brain injury. The waiting room was packed with 51's firefighters, pacing, sitting in silence, or holding back tears. Cruz hugged Chloe tightly. Mouch had his head in his hands. Violet and Brett alternated between checking in and offering updates. Hours passed. Finally, a doctor appeared. "They're stable," he said. It was close, but they're going to recover. A collective breath was released. Asterisk the aftermath asterisk. Kelly woke up first. He blinked slowly, taking in the sterile hospital ceiling, the dull ache in his leg, the bandage around his head. Then he turned. Stella was beside him, asleep but alive, her hand resting in his. He squeezed it gently. She stirred, groaned, and opened her eyes. "You scared me," she whispered. "You scared me first," he replied with a weak smile. They both chuckled, then winced. "Next time," Stella said, "I'm letting you do the dragging." "Deal," he said. Their fingers intertwined, their unspoken bond stronger than ever. Asterisk Firehouse 51 reacts asterisk. The news spread quickly. Media reports hailed them as heroes, but inside Firehouse 51, the mood was more personal. Herman raised a toast that night in Molly's. To Stella and Severide. Two of the bravest fighters I've ever known. They risked it all and made it back. Here's to love, loyalty, and never leaving each other behind. Cheers, echoed the room. There were tears, laughter, stories, memories of the day they'd nearly lost two of their own. Asterisk weeks later asterisk. Recovery was slow, but both Severide and Kid were determined. They returned to the firehouse weeks later, not in uniform yet, but together. Applause broke out as they walked in. "Miss us?" Stella grinned. "Every damn day," Mouch said, hugging her gently. They sat together in the common room, watching the bustle of their second home, the place that had nearly become their last. "I used to think the job was the most important thing in the world," Kelly said quietly. "And now?" Stella asked. He looked at her, then at their team. "Now I know, it's the people, the family we built here." She smiled and rested her head on his shoulder. They had survived the flames, together, and that was all that mattered.